What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's Motorfest video, I do want to go over what I think is another hot topic. At least I kind of think it is. That is going to be like the overall grinding in this game for car parts and how long it actually takes to get each one, and is it truly going to be an issue? Right off the bat though, I do want to mention, how was your overall experience going after gold part sets? I would like to know what you guys went through in the comments below with this. Now, I would say a lot of players are most likely going to jump on this game coming over from the Crew 2 before, and they are most likely going to look at this and go, well, time to go after around 14 different classes to get all of my part sets for them. That way, at least I can be set up for summits and, ready for, like, if they do end up adding different events or, like, maybe different PvP game modes in the future, to where maybe your part sets might end up mattering. Now, the only issue with this, though, is if you are grinding out the part sets in this game, you are going to be here for a while. It is kind of insane, though. Like, I do understand you want to grind, or, like, maybe you enjoy going after these vehicle classes and, like, getting them done. I also would say a lot of players are most likely not going to want to sit around for 10 to 15 hours on end to hope to get a said part set completed. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be terrible for everybody because, yeah, you can add, like, Lucky and, Goldfinger to your perk. You can also get like part sets and add that to every single part, which by the way is going to help you get your part sets quicker. The thing about this though is I was noticing, and I've also seen this mentioned by many people, if you are grinding this way, yes, you are going to get more gold parts. The issue though is you might end up getting around 5 to 6 parts for that said vehicle class, and then for some odd reason after that you're most likely going to be there all day trying to get the last part unless your RNG is nice to you. Which, if that is going to be the case, though, I would definitely say to follow that RNG all the way into the next point of getting these part sets done, because my goodness, that is going to be a crazy sight to see. But I would say not everybody is going to have a terrible experience going after max part sets. At least for me, though, I would admit going after them for every class did take a while. And I would say for most players, they're most likely going to experience the exact same thing. Even my friend, for example, recently has been grinding out different classes, and for some odd reason he cannot get any of the other classes like getting one part done. He would get around 5 to 6 parts and go, oh man, I got like a lot of these done pretty quick, and let's go, maybe I'm going to get the last part pretty fast. Well, it does turn out he's still going after some of those parts that's even right now trying to get them, and he would come back like a day or two after try to get it. But one thing I did find, someone that did say on a comment, they were like, you know what, maybe the game might actually know that you're going after the part sets, so maybe take one of the part sets that you are going after, like maybe if you're missing like a suspension, take something off like maybe a motor core, and maybe that might end up helping. I did actually tell him that, and it did turn out afterwards he got the part, so if you guys are having issues, at least something like that might end up helping you get that last part a bit quicker. I do find it kind of odd though that, yeah, you can farm for like maybe an hour and have some insanely good RNG on your side and probably get like 5 or 6 of the parts you are wanting, and then for some odd reason that last part is going to take an additional 2 to 3 hours to get. Now again though, I'm not saying everybody is going to have this problem, but at least from my experience I was having this issue basically every class I went after, and it was of course, going after a chemist. Like, I do know players are going to want like a loot digger, like a score breaker, but I actually went after mainly in basing this off of the Nitro Chemist set itself, which for most of my classes took around 6 to 8 hours to get them. And if you are wondering, by the way, I did not actually take 6 to 8 hours to only get a Chemist set though. For many of the classes I managed to get a score breaker, a loot digger, a live sniffer as well, and sometimes even like a buck set, and also a fame magnet at the same time. Like, my hypercar category, for example, has 2 Nitro Chemist sets, a score breaker, a live sniffer, a fame, I guess you can say an XP. I always say fame magnet, by the way, because of the crew 2. I do apologize, I know it's an XP magnet. But I was managing to get many of those part sets while going after a chemist set. Now, of course, going after a chemist set for me definitely took longer than everything else. I even noticed going after like a score breaker, I always managed to get one of those before every other set I actually went after. And for some odd reason, going after a chemist set took me legit like 6 to 8 hours. And then some other classes like the power boats took me 9, and then of course 12 on the demolition derby. But it probably is going to depend on like your overall RNG. Like, for example, for me it did take like 12 hours for demolition derby. Hopefully it doesn't take you that long to get a chemist set for one of your classes, but we do know the biggest issue with that is going to come down to the overall RNG itself and how it most likely is going to treat you when going after the part sets you are looking for. For me, I would say the biggest thing is probably the most annoying classes to level up is by far the plane, and of course the power boats. Now, if you are wondering why I mentioned that, that is going to come down to the fact that there is not that many events you can't even grind for them. So you are most likely going to continue to do like the exact same 1 or 2 events, 4 hours on end to actually get the part sets done. For me, funnily enough on the plane, I basically did the last event in the Ocean and Sky playlist for around like 4 to 5 hours to get the Scorebreaker and the Lovely Chemist for it. Funnily enough, I managed to get the Scorebreaker before the Chemist itself, and also going after like a live reward sniffer set is probably worth it. And at the end of the day though, you're probably going to want to do different events, at least mixing up like the overall grind, but also making money from different events at the exact same time of it. So doing the exact same event over and over probably isn't the best experience ever. Funnily enough, back in the Crew 2, I basically did that pretty often. We can agree some events are going to be a better option or at least faster, and of course like maybe the overall like I guess course of that event is better, so you are most likely going to enjoy that one more. Now on the flip side of this though, I would say many players are obviously not going to want to grind out the exact same powerboat event or even like the same plane event over and over. On the other side of this though, you can indeed go after like the live reward crates. I would admit though, I did not go after any of these for the gold sets I do have though. I pretty much went after the live reward crates to have many of my like I guess vehicles maxed out, and then after that I would basically jump into events, but it is really going to be a different way to max vehicles out if you guys want to do it that way. And I would also say like many players jumping into this game that are new, and of course coming over from the Crew 2 before, are going to be going after max part sets. I mean, for one, for like 95% of the summits, you pretty much have to have them. And of course looking at like, the skills being like a bullseye and like having a score breaker, you're probably going to want to be set up for all the future summits and the cars that most likely come out in them. Now, I would like to know what you guys think about the overall, like, grinding for parts in Motorfest. Do you think it's really going to be bad, or maybe it's not nearly as terrible as I think? I would admit, though, yeah, I did have to grind for around 5 to 7 hours per class to do so. I honestly had a pretty dang good time doing it. Not only that, though, grinding out that many events, I actually made over $30 million going after maxed out sets. I'm not even kidding, I legit made that much money from it. So it really is going to benefit like grinding out events that way. I do know, of course, on the flip side of grinding, yes, you can do like the skills and do like the rewind thing and get parts that way, but the only issue with this though is you're not going to make a lot of money in the aspect of doing it. So I guess in like a positive standpoint, you could look at this like, yeah, you could do events, grand races, you could do like the live reward crates, and of course also like grind out the skills to mix up like the overall grinding session of going after these said parts that you are looking for. Once again though guys, let me know what you think about this entire thing in the comments below. I would say overall the entire like grinding experience isn't awful, but I could say in some ways, it can definitely be improved.